y'all doing? Welcome to the Keep Your Head Up podcast. I got my main man Kobe back in the building with me.
What up?
D coach, you know what I'm saying? Then he got his uncle with him. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Tim Riley, but I go by Mr. Ignat. Ignat, I-G-N-A-N-T, stand for I gain knowledge and never turn back. Let's go.
I fucks with that. I seen your Facebook post where you was going in. You had put that in there. I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely not only original, but it's genuine, because in order to even make an acronym out of some ignorant shit, which is ignorant in itself, so it's definitely like a double flip. You already going beyond the semantics of how the world try to set certain type of realities onto us.
Yeah, reality is what you want it to be.
Right. And then you come together with people who realities are similar to yours.
Because there's no such thing as same, dude.
Exactly. And then I feel like a lot of times what happens is people start to associate being a certain type of way with certain types of groups, where you get certain types of shit like, are you talking white? Are you being white? When you can have your own spirit and own bounce and own swag to being a part of a group that has a greater good. I don't like them associating negative things with our culture.
Right. I don't like any of that, really. Like, my whole thing is, man, people have to learn who they actually are, because there's so much programming out here, bro. I mean, everything you see, everything you listen to, look at, you are what you ingest. So you got to be careful as to the world that you live, the physical world that you live in.
All right.
Because if you haven't learned anything about your spiritual world, the physical world is automatically going to take the top priority, because it's what you are absorbing the most.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't even aware that there's multiple layers to life. You got your physical, you got your mental, and you got your spiritual.
Yes.
They not all aligned. A lot of times, because we live in a PC society, people will tell. I was talking to a white boy about this. People will give advice to people or individuals outside of their household that they wouldn't give to the people who are inside their household.
Which is reversed.
It's not integral. And
it's reversed too. If you look at the world itself, everything we do is in reverse.
And that's the purpose of the agenda. That's the agenda of the people who are in power that we blindly vote for and go along with and believe have our best interests in heart, when history would tell us the exact opposite. I feel like this is the necessity of history. A lot of people say, oh, they want us to look back so we be focusing on that. But it's really to understand that history repeats itself, and you can start to break from certain type of patterns and generational buildups that have been going on for centuries.
Yeah, it's basically like taking a test with the book.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You have all the answers, but if you choose not to use the book, then more than likely you're gonna do shit on the test.
Preparation makes for better results. I definitely respect and understand that. And I feel like us as black people, we think because we black, and I feel like it's a certain type of, I don't know if that's a mix of entitlement or pride, but it's like how niggas feel like we can just automatically beat up white people, or, you know what I'm saying?
No.
It's like you know that spirit of like, yeah, you're supposed to
fuck him up, he's white. All
right.
Then you go over there and you get smashed potatoes and you find out.
Right, and no preparation, no practice, none of that. And just, you know what I'm saying, it's just whatever.
Like I'm more so on a level these days. Like when I started out, I was heavy into the cliche shit.
Okay, as far as what?
As far as like religion.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just the cliche shit, the woke people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't use the word woke, I use aware.
Yeah, when you really become woke, you start to realize that that's like a subculture of people.
It's an awareness.
Yeah.
You know, awareness is where the magic is at, because you can't change nor manipulate anything that you're not aware of.
If I like to even go as far as to say is, if you're not even aware, are you even conscious that you exist?
You could be on autopilot.
Exactly. And a lot of people that we see moving and making decisions that we consider are called sheep are these people.
Yeah, those are the autopilot people, the people haven't taken the wheel.
Yeah, and I feel like there's different circumstances that lead up to people taking on that reality.
Yeah, I really think it's trauma based. Because if you go back and you look at a child, when a child is born, the child is the purest it's ever going to be.
Right.
You can't blame the child for what it does. We put it there.
Right.
It's a blank slate. We put everything that we think that it should know into that child. And then when that child strays from whatever we told it, we're mad about it.
Yeah.
So we disregard the fact that this child, this living entity, also has free will.
Yeah.
So at what point do you damn this child for using its free will?
And this is the hard part, and I've had deep conversations about this as far as I've come out in a great certain type of way due to my circumstances.
Right.
But I like to think that had my circumstances been better, I would have been a greater person. But it's certain people who believe if certain traumas wouldn't have happened,
right,
would you be as great as you are? What is your thought on that? Like, I believe pressure I believe that pressure makes diamonds. But if you have that spirit that you got already, can it just be nurtured to be greater from the beginning?
I mean, yeah. From my world, there are no accidents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is as it should be.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is everywhere. In everything, in every being. I don't care how you look at it. Energy, as I like to call it, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you manipulate that, then you're not going to take your true form. If you try to cheat, you're not going to be the person that you're supposed to be.
Right. But it's similar. It's not about saying, because I like where you went with that, because that's what comes up next in the thought process of logic, right? But in reality, I like to assimilate it or associate it with the way that I do history and traverse the knowledge that I'm learning. Not to say, oh, the last generation died and they're suckers because their weapons were not equivalent to fight the war to keep us independent of who we're, you know what I'm saying? No, we need to understand that, oh, they're fighting with guns. We can't have bow and arrows and knives and tomahawks. You know, just taking all and collecting all of the data of this were the shortcomings. We don't have to make those same mistakes and shortcomings. And I feel like if we can cut this, because I feel like this is a part of the Willie Lynch, if we can cut this in between the young generation, the old generation of if the young figure it out, we get like, oh, you talking shit. But if the old figure it out, they hide it because it's like, oh, I'm blaming or I'm ridiculing myself for making myself look bad or shaming myself, when it's not about that. It's about the collective coming together to get a database of information to use for war.
I mean, just look at the way the FBI is set up. Same shit.
We do not take enough knowledge from the enemy. We take all of the bad shit from the enemy.
We celebrate too early.
Expound on it. I like how you said that.
We celebrate too early. The smallest victories, which in the grand scheme of things don't mean shit, but we're celebrating them like we won. It's never over. That's what people don't understand. It's never over. Okay, we conquered this part, you move to the next. You know what I'm saying? Damn, fuck all the, no, keep going. Because once you stop and you focus on that one point, you stop this knowledge from coming.
Yeah.
You have to remain open the whole time.
You got to stay hungry and
vicious. You have to.
And I think that it comes from our, we originally start off our fight with a wanting something and not taking something attitude. So instead of us taking it, we're not realizing that whatever we took, because when you realize, oh, you're taking something, somebody is either going to want to take it back or come take it from you. So you're always in that mentality of, I've got it. But we have that, well, they gave it to us. But even when you get something, if you're not aware of where it was received from or if it's stolen goods or any of that, which is the reality of a lot of the stuff that we have in America now. If we as black people were to take over America with all of the funds and everything, people will be mad at us just like they mad at America because it's a lot of it is stolen goods. So we have to take on those same responsibilities and spirits and transition into that reality.
This is true, but at the same time, it was stolen from us.
And I'm not talking about just the land. I'm talking about if we were to take over the finances of the banks and all of the stuff from the French War and all of this. This is what I'm talking about. If they just give us our land and our infrastructure back, we're gonna thrive and do our thing. That's why they don't want to do that, because they understand that they're essentially taking all of the fault and the debt, which is their fault and debt to take. But if we get to build up, and we're gonna be debt free and
we're gonna be
separate of Americans' $1 trillion debt.
Yeah, we're gonna be flush, bro. There's not gonna be any ripples in our shit.
And I feel like this is one of the great reasons why Black Wall Street got destroyed, because not only were we going to be able to network with other countries and be on a certain type of independent level, but America seen a certain descent within themselves too.
Yeah,
it's correlative, and until we see this reality, we won't see that we can't be really friends about it. Segregation is damn near necessary.
Segregation is something that it depends on what you're segregating.
Segregate not the reality of opportunity, but segregate the care of the people holding the positions. So when you go to the hospital, your wife or your the mother of your child is more likely to die, or your child is more likely to die, because obviously there's bias and certain stuff like that within those institutions. But if we had our own institutions, maybe we would see those numbers change. You get what I'm coming from?
Right.
It's not about segregation of mentality and ideology. We all live in America, but it's about segregation of respect of a certain people. If we
see, that's where I differ from you. I feel like there should be a separation of mentalities, because mentalities is what's running this shit.
Right, but I'm talking about on a national level, as far as
me too.
Okay, and expound on that thing, because I like it.
Your mentality is going to tell you everything. That's going to dictate how your shit runs. If your people or your little conglomerate that you got going on, if they only have a certain mindset, right?
Is it a difference between mindset and mentality? Because I feel like now we're getting into semantics, but I feel like they about the same.
They're
but I feel
about
like
the same.
Okay, now this goes into perspective, and I like perspective because we get into my belief for this or my belief for that. Let me expound more on what I mean by like mindset of a nation, right? If somebody try to come and take over the land, white and black people fight it.
Right.
That's the nation mentality, if that makes sense. Not we feed each other the same thing, our body require the same herbs and vegetables and meats and all. No, not that. Not we go to the same institutions and learn the same type of curriculum. And no, because we're not built like, you know what I'm saying? We more built towards working with our hands and working with, because we come from a generation of actual people who worked with real material and creating right. So even trying to put us into institutions or try to make us collegiate and do that is already putting us at a disadvantage. That's why they be trying to say like the ACT and the ACT and SAT. Yeah, they try to say like that's racist and all of that, but it's just because we were not groomed for doing that type of stuff. The first 20 years is just like the game of Monopoly, right? If we set up a game of Monopoly, right, and me and Kobe was playing, and we sitting here rolling and we playing, and we like, nah, you gotta sit out, you chill, you don't read nothing, don't write nothing, you don't get no money yet, nothing. Right. We play for 10, 20 rounds. Then we say, all right, we're gonna give you some money. Here you some bread, we're gonna get you right, you know what I'm saying? You do your thing, you know what I'm saying? You don't get no houses, don't get no nothing, and just roll. You're gonna lose that money quick. We done set up everything on the board. You don't know nothing. You don't have no infrastructure. This is the same crossover into the how about you be a doctor or a scientist. When we had those people, but they stomped them out or made them be understudies of other white people who took all of their credit and their children and assimilated them into. You get what I'm around?
It's funny that you say that, because I dropped out of psychology class for that.
Put me on, like
I started going to school for psychology, right?
Right.
So I'm studying, I'm triggered the whole fucking time, because people don't realize you're reading the script of what the fuck is going on right now. Anytime you go into psychology, sociology, you're reading the script. They're telling you exactly how you got where you are.
Programming and all of that.
Yes, all of that shit. So it was hard for me. I was in every chapter like, motherfuckers put this shit in the book. Yeah. Like, it don't get more disrespectful than this. To do me like that and then give it back to me in a book and tell me that it's knowledge.
But they see, I'm telling you, even my uncle, he did not. I asked him, I said, what you think about psychology? Because I was thinking about going to psychology because I'm a person who care about people. Mm-hmm. I like having conversations, understanding how people work and thinking, how the building of people actually come together. Because that's the foundational level. But he like, man, that don't make no money. That's a female's like craft and shit like
psychology that. Is not to make money.
It ain't, and this
psychology is the way they have psychology set up. To me, psychology is built on the basis of control.
Yeah.
That is what it's for. If you actually looked at psychology and what it was telling you, it is showing you how to manipulate people.
That is wild.
That is what it is. It is showing you how you've been manipulated. It's showing you so much shit at one time. Yeah. It's showing you how you've been manipulated, and it also shows you how to manipulate them.
Yeah.
But what stops you in psychology, what stopped me in psychology is I got tired of referencing my perception through another person.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me that we're the same fucking people as those people were that you taught this shit. The world's different. You can't say you believe in evolution if you're gonna force everyone to learn the same shit.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
But see, that's the harsh reality of college because the person who made college didn't go to college.
No.
So you requiring or making an ultimatum of college on somebody to be great is already breaking down the actualities of a spirit.
Yeah, that's the same way like when they give you grades at school.
That's like an adventurer having to go to a school to be an adventurer. Yeah. Like that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta go to school to know how to discover and go outside the box, right? You gotta go to school for business for them to teach you how to do business, but you gotta still go out and create the business on your own. People
don't look at the base of shit. They get so caught up in the advanced version of it, which they don't know anything about, right? Go back to the base, my guy. Go back to how it started. That's where your knowledge is at. And until you understand the first step, how you gonna understand the third one?
We lost foundation. People a lot of times lose conversations with people because our attention spans is super low. Yeah. So now you got to get right to the punchline or to the part, which disbands all of the buildup. So now manipulation is even more prevalent because now all I got to do is tell you some shit and you just got to believe it because really that's all you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But when you, like you said, that build up and that foundation is essential, and we allow them to start representing our foundation of spirit and putting wealth there. And when people start putting wealth in their foundation on their number one spot, nothing else has to make sense. Your health, your dwelling, your family, sense and presence, all of this starts to become pointless if it's not making you no money.
Well, if you think about it, the moment you make that switch from living internally to externally, you're already going to lose. External is what is manipulated.
And you said internally to externally, or you mean
internal to external? Once you make that switch from internal, which is knowing about yourself, knowing how you work, and you make it external, now everybody can put their hands on it.
Yeah, you're not introspective, you external.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? So now manipulation is coming at you. Everywhere you look, somebody's telling you something that's leading you from where you're supposed to be.
Right.
The more you listen to it, the further out you get.
Yeah, and you find yourself questioning reality.
You do.
Right, and that's you just essentially questioning yourself.
That's why you can, like, in my opinion, you can tell a person that is, like, spiritual by their isolation. Knowledge will isolate you. It will put you in a corner by yourself.
I was talking to my herbalist lady about this, and I had a point on this as far as people who have deeper conversations with people and don't do small talk, and it's a more spiritual reality whenever you go out, that drains you. So you need that time to recharge and regenerate.
Yes.
If you don't ever get that time, you're liable to snap. And spiritual snappings are way more crucial than mental and physical snaps because it's people don't know why. And then now you're much more likely and susceptible to demons and other spiritual attacks that people are not even aware of. I've seen people that I told, hey man, you need to chill out on working. Like you going crazy at work. You need to really get your spirit right. Like, oh, whatever, because they don't see it. So and a lot of people don't believe what they don't see, or they, you know what I'm saying, they can't believe what they can't see. So it's like a few weeks later, months later, working hard, and fucking start drinking, going crazy, just like I'm watching it.
Yeah, you burnt out the power that you had. You burnt it up. At some point, you have to back up and let your shit charge up.
And it's in any realm, even if it's physical, mental, and spiritual, because it has to be in synergy. As soon as one fall off, now you're using another one to maintain and carry the other one.
That's where balance comes in.
Right.
When you learn how to use them all evenly, you know when to switch. Like, oh, that's too much, let me switch. Oh, that's too much, let me switch. But I can't let none of these motherfuckers go below this level, so I'm just gonna keep switching.
Yeah.
And then that's how it works. One props up the other one. If you don't learn how to use them all, then one gets burnt out. Once it gets burnt out, it's pulling double hard from everywhere else because it's about to fucking die, dude.
Yeah, it's like, I like to relate it to like tires. You know what I'm saying? If your back tires start fucking up, the front tires is gonna be there right after and shit. They leaning all on this side, your wheel alignment fucked up. Yeah, man. And we don't look at anything that's on a micro level, anything that you can inspect on a smaller level. I learned from correlative thinking and learning shit on a bigger level. You can relate it and analogize it to bigger shit. So all
big shit is just a conglomerate of little shit.
Right, puzzles. Yeah.
That's all it is. Like, I see people as pieces to a big puzzle. Everybody has a piece to your puzzle.
I like that you said that because I was finna ask you earlier. This correlates right back around in a circular motion with the manipulation stuff and with people being pieces and characters and all of that. And people saying life is chess, not checkers. Isn't chess just like a huge game of manipulation?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's deep.
That's really what it is. You're baiting certain pieces to do certain things that you want them to do so you can take the advantage, so that you can take over.
Right, and then I feel like this would be the harsh part. It'd be like the leader has to make the hard decisions of sacrificing pawns and pieces, but then when the team win, the whole team win, not just the king.
Yeah, the whole team.
A lot of people don't look at it like that.
They don't. They get locked in on that one piece, and that's why you can't beat him.
Yeah. Because
he's using all of his pieces, but it looks like he's using one.
Yeah, and then us as black people, we're not as barbaric, so manipulation on a grand scale is far less prevalent.
Right.
But like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I feel like the most consistent place you see this is like churches.
Of course, church is a business.
Yeah.
They're getting paid for that. Like, that's one of the first things that I found out. Like, when I started seeing shit and how the church is working, I was like, what the?
Pass the collection plate.
Oh,
I'm telling you,
bro, they used to look at me funny because I wouldn't put nothing in it, I'd pass it.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you.
And they'd just look at me funny. Because once you think about it, first off, if people in the congregation need help and money can help them, why the fuck would I give it to you if it's sitting right here?
I thought about that. Like I said,
why can't I just turn and give it to this guy? Why do I need a middleman to help this guy?
If I was to start a church and I took up tithes, when I took up them tithes, I hold it up and I have people do their testimonies.
Yeah.
People do their testimony, they real stories and shit going on. Here, take this. This is for that.
It should be issued right then.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be, because it even talks about that in the Bible. Tithes is not 10% of your money.
No,
it's 10% of your time, energy, and all the effort. And because we associate money, this even goes back to us putting our spiritual value back into money. We think money is sufficient to God. God can't even receive money.
Money only has the power that we give it.
And it's faith-based.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Like, I don't know I don't know how we can break out of this as a community, but I know that only connecting with people who have this understanding is viable at this point.
See, and that goes back to my segregation right there. That's why I say there has to be a separation of mindsets. Only certain mindsets can be around people like us.
And I feel like that's where you have, because this is the harsh reality of being in a chess setup. Our team is our team. So it's like, it's fucked up. They gotta be pawns, but usually pawns are pawns because nature sets it that way. It's a majority of the people.
Everything plays its role.
Right.
Like if you think about it, we have fucked up to the point, right?
Right.
We have fucked up to the point. Nature. This is why I watch a lot of nature shit. I'm always outside.
Planet,
yes.
Nat Geo.
All of that shit.
Okay.
So this is why I watch this, because if you watch nature, there are no mistakes.
Right.
Everything does what it's supposed to do.
Right.
The only thing that stands out is us.
That's literally the definition of nature.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're the only motherfuckers going against the grain. But it's not by nature, it's by design.
This is where I realized that there are some this is where I believe in the book of Enoch and all of that, right?
Okay,
so
Apocrypha and shit like that?
Right, fallen angels, all of that. So I truly believe that there are people among us who are truly evil and purely evil, to where we be trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, like, oh no, that's just from circumstance or this or that. But like, some people bloodlines is just to cause chaos and benefit, and you know what I'm saying, basically paying off.
You can't have one without the other.
Right, it's like Batman and the Joker.
Yeah, Batman wouldn't be shit without the Joker. The Joker is what drives him.
Right, and it's literally the opposite, because it's nature.
It is.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about
it's basically yin and yang, bro.
Yeah,
like for real.
And us as black people, I was talking to a white boy about this, as far as like, in yin and yang, there's one white fish. I'm gonna just say fish, so it's relatable to everybody. One white fish, one black fish, and then the black fish got a white dot, which is symbolic of good within the darkness, and then the white fish got blackened, which is dark within the. You know what I'm saying? Us as black people go to the dark fish and like highlight the little bit of good within it. Say, oh, you know, this part is the good. But then we see the white fish and say, oh, but look at that bad in that white. Look at how terrible this is. So we never actually get to have balance, because we're always seeking what is less prevalent in everything.
But see, I do a lot of like, I believe that knowledge is everywhere, bro. Like you're not gonna get to where you want to go by being locked in on one spot.
Oh no, facts.
You know what I'm saying? I would rather know a little about a lot than a lot about a little. You see what I'm saying? I want to be well-rounded, a jack of all trades, if you would.
Right. And I feel like this is telling of a lot of people's pieces determination as far as on the chessboard, because you've got a more director mind state as far as you know where everybody's supposed to go, how everybody's supposed to be, and you actually be better at helping other people and guiding other people, like as you being a coach, because you've seen so many lanes and so many different dynamics, to where now you see this is actually how you carry this out, and you actually better at me than doing it. So if you do it like this, I'm telling you, you're gonna be able to carry through it.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like us as black people, we don't allow room for great philosophers and people of this certain type of caliber, because it's money based, and
we've been trained to want to win individually instead of as a group.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The more you speak on something from a singular perspective, you're gonna limit it. I don't give a shit what it is. If you speak on it from a singular perspective, you're gonna limit it. Because everything in this motherfucker is connected. You can't just cut one piece off and say, this is my piece.
This piece though, yeah. You're speaking literally on the difference between objective versus subjective reality. And we have so many people in our society arguing and fighting for so many subjective truths and subjective realities that benefit only the subjective, that it makes the life of the objective much harder.
It does. It does. It makes it extremely hard. Extremely. Like, my biggest thing, like my dad taught me, my dad was a dope boy. All right? My dad was my guy.
Right.
He died like 5 years ago. My dad was my guy. But the one thing that I learned from my dad was a walking representation of duality to the fullest.
Expound, man.
And he knew how to hit that switch. Like he could be dark or light at either time.
Boom.
And that's where I seen a lot of shit. That's where I got to make a lot of comparisons from.
Yeah.
Because certain people, they only have their switch, they don't control their switch.
Yeah.
External controls their switch. They don't control it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he could do his internal. And he'd be a different person. Now you can call it schizophrenia, multiple personality, call it what you want. But he always had that ability to, whenever he needed it,
yeah,
without hesitation.
And then he'd turn it off too, like boom.
He could turn it on, turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it on, turn it off. Whichever side of him fit that situation, he could just turn it on. Oh, you want funk, Nick?
Yeah.
Oh, we worshiping? Like he was just everybody in one.
Yeah, that like that Pac spirit and shit.
Yeah, he was everything at once.
Yeah.
And he didn't deny it.
That's integrity.
You know what I'm saying? He just was who he was. And if you wasn't with it, you was in the food chain. That's just the way he was. But the people that he actually loved see him in a different light as opposed to people that wanted him to be who they wanted him to be.
And this is the harsh reality of perspective, and us being set up into a flip of victimhood because we got victimized originally. So then from that victimization, we had certain negative traits that were inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of us trying to help each other and giving opportunities and motivation and staying consistent through and through, we change up. It's certain people who never make it back from those traumas or their mentalities and being fucked up or depressed or feeling like, oh, I ain't got nobody fighting for me or on my side, to carrying over to being somebody and being successful and doing something with their life. And now you got people supporting you and saying, oh, you could do it. Prime example, Bud Crawford.
Oh yeah, okay.
You feel I'm coming from? You have people directly there who's telling you not shit, you can't do it, you ain't gonna do it. Then you do it and they turn around and act like, well, because you came up and I was there feeding you, that should be enough, when in reality the spiritual nurturing wasn't there, the mental nurturing wasn't there.
Right.
But the maintenance was there. So it's like we see the flesh part. But we so focused on the flesh part that the spiritual part, the mental part is damn near it don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't have any real effect.
Right, even though it do.
I mean, it does, but we don't acknowledge
we
that.
Don't, but we acknowledge the problems from it, and then I break down where the problems come from, and I'm the problem because I figured out the root of the problems. Why is this the reality for the Black community?
That's a good ass question, bro. That is a good ass question. There's just been so much shit done to humanity itself. Like, in my eyes, we are the caretakers of this place.
Right.
The further you go back, you see the good that we've done. You see it. It's everywhere. We built this shit. You understand? That's why these days I try not to call myself Black. You know what I'm saying? I'm melanated. That's what I am.
Yeah.
You know? Because if you start going back and you looking into etymology and shit like that, the way they twisted it up, the words that we speak now are not the same meanings as they had back then.
And all this is Latin mixed with German, mixed with all types of other stuff they done stole.
That's where my Team Ignis shit came from. The Team Ignis shit is a play on the bastard ass English language.
I like the Team Ignis shit because I'm also Team Nigga.
Yeah.
Native, indigenous, gaining, gathering, achieving.
Hey, let's go.
I'm telling you, that's that.
Let's go.
I'm telling you, like.
I did it to take that stigma off of there. Like, stop saying that.
Yeah, I mean.
Stop. Just quit. It can be anything you want it to be. Why would you choose the negative connotation?
Really, what it's actually more telling of, and it's more flipping on, because I'm telling you, it's introspective. I always like to relate it to the inner side, right? So when I go around saying, "Oh, bro, you crazy, bro, you ignorant," you're not thinking negative or he's bashing or talking down upon me. It's an actual reality of, I'm what is the word? I'm going overboard, or I'm being over the top of whatever it is I'm doing. And I'm
exaggerating.
I'm giving a little bit more effort or some shit like that. You feel me? You understand how Black people talk. That's what's so funny. Our spiritual communication goes so deep that we don't even be having to understand what certain shit is to just like everybody know what.
Yeah, you know what that is.
You know what I'm saying? We don't even have to. Yeah, like we have to have a conversation about it. Don't gotta be no exactly. So it's like, and then who created that?
Like if you ever get a chance to go and actually look at my Facebook page, just look at the way I spell, the way I talk. To me, it's a weeding tool. I use it as a weeding tool.
Yeah.
Because guess what you're gonna do? If you look down there and you see that I'm using K's everywhere the C's supposed to be, right? Or I'm using Y's everywhere the I's supposed to be. That's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to saying, okay, well, that's not English, but it is.
You know what I naturally associate that with?
What?
Gang members.
Yeah.
It's funny you said.
Yeah, but
that's funny.
Ever heard of Ebonics?
Not for sure.
Ebonics, that's what they call the black language, Ebonics, right?
Right.
That's what they call it. But at the same time, we can take this language, right? You can choose any word you want to in the English language, and I bet you that motherfucker got more than 3 meanings to it.
Yeah, it's spells. It's all spells.
That's what it is.
They use in
So when I
rituals.
write and spell,
yeah,
I separate myself from that. I'm not a part of that. And in order for you to understand what it is that I got going on, you got to open up.
You gotta be really trying to receive.
Get rid of your triggers.
Right, exactly. And
It's the same word using the letters that have the same sound. It may not be the same letter, but they have the same sounds. They're interchangeable. That's what this language, it's stolen.
And do you have common sense enough to decipher it?
Exactly. You know, I used to ask people all the time, well, did you understand what I wrote? Yeah, but you didn't spell it right. What do you mean I didn't spell it right? Did you read it? Yeah, did you understand what it said? Okay, then it's right.
Right, now we arguing semantics.
You're throwing away your own fucking understanding.
Yeah. And really it's more telling. I told my uncle this, I'm like, how do we know who's who? The only way you can know who's who is by talking to everybody. And you figure out by having different conversations and using different tones and going outside of the comfortability of everybody's regular everyday conversation. Exactly who people are.
I'm checking when I write and spell like this and speak the way that I do. I'm checking multiple shit. First off, I'm checking, are you open or not?
Right.
If that's triggering you, you can't talk to me.
What would we be talking for? You're triggered.
Exactly. If you want to allow yourself to understand what I'm writing down, what makes you think me and you can sit in front of each other and you're going to listen to me talk the way that I spell? You're not. You're already shunning it from the beginning.
It's already outside of the realm or the reality that you live in. And I'm an acceptor of this. Is why I like integrity. Because integrity allows everybody to be honest about their true lane. And if we all find our true lane, just like you're talking about the mindset within inside of the black community, we all be honest about, oh, I like negative shit, fucked up shit, and I want to gangbang and do all that. Let's make a community for them, and y'all just live over there and don't fuck with people who don't participate in that type of shit. But that would take us having our own control and being segregated to allot our own land and not have redlining where people who are not our own control where the fuck our children and other people who are trying to be successful.
I mean, if you look at it, there's no such thing as ownership. You don't own anything.
It's I don't even know. It's bogarting, because just like they just ran out. I don't know if you heard about the Comoros, not Cameroon, but Comoros in Africa. They just ran the French out of Comoros, and it's like this young black, he like 35, young black general, and he started basically figuring out like a lot of the African leaders and people who was around was basically taking bribes from French people, allowing certain stuff to go on, and he started really cracking down and shutting that down. So now he's the leader of Cameroon. Yeah, and like
they're gonna keep that shit on the wraps, bro. I ain't gonna show you that shit.
No, and I found, that's what I'm saying. You gotta really do your research. Anything that's black and prevalent, anything like they gonna show niggas killing and robbing and raping. They gonna talk about, oh, well, why are black people killing each other? They don't talk about the helping of black. They don't talk about trying to really uprise and come to a better standing of our own. And everybody understands that there's no rules in war and none of that. But then we're getting babied and we're getting little brother by our enemies. So now it's like after everything we did for y'all and fed y'all and all that, to where it's like is that the reality of what went on? Now we're questioning as far as individuals go. We don't have a national understanding that we not cool. When did we get cool?
We're not.
Nah, I'm just. That's what I be thinking. Like in my head, like
People blow my mind. I watch them every day. They blow my mind. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. It gives me headaches sometimes. But like, I'm that type of person. I can walk into a room and my fucking ear might start screaming.
Yeah.
Ringing. And I never used to know what the fuck that was.
What is like some spiritual?
Yeah, it's just pay attention. Those are frequencies and shit that the normal person can't fucking hear. People want to say it's tinnitus and all this other shit. It's not always that. Because I don't have a fucking thing wrong with my ears, bro.
Yeah, I definitely be having like spiritual sensories going on.
The more you use your senses, the stronger they get.
Man, I definitely understand it because I thought about the fact that a lot of people say stay consistent in what you want to do and you'll be great in it, and then we always take that in our business and in our like money factor, but we don't spiritually run with that and make decisions.
If you think about it, they show you to use your spirit. They show you to use your senses one at a time. They don't teach you to use them all together.
And do they teach you how to use your senses? Like.
Somewhat to do.
I feel like that's your
what they want
parents'
you to
job.
do.
I feel like a lot of stuff that this is a black community problem too. A lot of stuff that we put on the hands of our enemy. Mm-hmm. These are our enemies that we send our kids.
Yeah, we do some of that. We do a lot of it.
I'm saying, like, so all of anything that your kid was ever supposed to be taught history, supposed to be by you.
It should be.
That's all I'm saying. As soon as we lose that reality,
that out though.
But it's because they can now tell you once you enroll them into that school, oh, they got to be here for this amount of attendance, or you neglect them, and all this other stuff that comes with indoctrination. Because now we have to get this amount of curriculum in it, or the context won't make sense.
And or you're punished.
Right. And not only the child, but you too, even if your kid is old enough to say, I don't want to be indoctrinated no more.
Yeah, they're not going to care about that.
Right. And then you as a parent, if you are already pressed up to your neck with financial problems and stuff going on that you didn't figure out before you had a kid, because this is a whole different reality of living separate from...
They don't leave you any space to help them. That's because they want them.
And it's all closed into that survival mind state.
I mean, if you can look at the school system and look at the penitentiary system, it's damn near the same.
Yeah.
It's damn near the same. What they do to them is the same.
Yeah.
Just one can go in and out of their room and one can't.
And really, no, because you have to raise your hand and get permission. And a prisoner can get permission to leave a cell.
Oh, I never did that, but...
I'm just talking about the ideal of a child can't just get up and leave the classroom whenever he wants to. That's not a reality. It sounds good, but it's like
they can, though.
Huh?
They can.
I mean...
Yeah,
physically they can, but due to the rules in place, just like in prison, you cannot just get up and do whatever you want to do. But that's what I'm saying. If this is the reality I set for my child, as far as I won't. If I tell you to do some shit, do it. But then this is the harsh reality of my daddy told me to do something. Now I'm in here getting told some shit that I shouldn't probably be doing. Institutions.
I always upheld that for my kids until I found out that they were manipulating me.
Damn, for real, as far as
what I'm saying? Like, I went to bat for my kids every time because I'm a type of person that you're probably not gonna ever say anything around my kid they haven't already heard. I'm one of them guys. I talk about everything. You know what I'm saying? I give it to them from every angle I can give it to them from because no one done it for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when they go to school and they say, hey, well, the teacher was talking slick to me, probably was. Because they don't expect you to have that kind of exposure to what I've exposed you to.
Yeah, so it's supposed to go over your head.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to be understanding.
They supposed to be sunning you, but they can't.
Yeah, and this is the sad reality of if you are a good parent, now it conflicts with their indoctrination.
Pretty much.
They can't program and manipulate your kid as much as the other kid who's basically just going home, getting fed.
Yeah, a drone.
Put back. Exactly, and this is where the majority of the sheep come from.
Yeah, drone. You like jobs, drone behavior. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Drone behavior. Drone. The moment I figured that out, I've been stressing ever since. I gotta get out of this. Like, I gotta do something. If I'm going to work and get paid, right? I want to do something that is going to help someone.
Right.
Me serving you fucking burgers, fucking up your health is not helping you.
Oh, not at all.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not nurturing you. I'm not giving you anything good in any fashion. I want to be known for lifting somebody up. I came from an era where I wasn't shit.
What I noticed is the people who help people the most actually get paid the least.
Oh yeah, it's always backwards.
Yeah. So it's like really, if you can build with your hands, you get paid a lot in building infrastructure. But actually, I'm more on that level of I would rather work with and build among people systems and connections between certain realities to get to having a better reality just because I break down information different. But it's like the shit that we need actually isn't even as extreme as we try to make it.
No, they make it look that way.
Right, keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, that shit is so running so rampant right now. We live in a material world. All we do is give in to our fucking desires is what we do.
And this is the harsh reality of being ran by emotion.
Oh my God, look, I tell my wife this shit all the time.
All right.
I say, babe, anytime we have a conversation, you understand me? At some point, you have to be logical about what you're saying. You have to have the strength in you to not let your emotion take over.
And to be honest, it's your job to keep her understanding that because they are emotional, so they always
just emotional
that.
beings.
So it's like that's why women need men and men need women. So we always have a task, even when we accomplish what it is we accomplished. But then also women have the ability to control their chaotic reality of they are fantastic when they're controlled. It's like a bullet.
Yeah.
They can shoot and kill and go directly to what they need to go to, explode, do exactly what the job needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But if you let them roam free and do whatever, it explodes and damages a lot of shit. You have to have it in some type of, it's like fire.
Like what I learned about like females, that's a divine creature.
Right.
You give a shit.
Sacred.
Yeah. The more you try to control it, the wilder it gets. You don't necessarily control a woman, you guide a woman.
Right. She already has to have a certain level of control within herself.
Yeah, that's gotta be hers. Just like I see people, oh well, he's my world. I will never tell you that. You are not my world.
God has to come first. This is the harsh reality of like us not being actually spirit based, because God is there to keep a certain type of balance in between that humility and pride and all of these certain type of humanly bad in that bad side of the fish of yang and all of that. Keep that balanced in a certain type of cage, because of the fact that when shit is good, we think that everything is just whatever.
Yeah, we forget about the opposite side of the spectrum.
Right.
It's always there.
It never goes away. Even once you make it, you still haven't made it. And this is the reality of people being miserable who chase their dreams in a belief that getting it is gonna make their life better.
Yes. When this shit is just representing how you want to feel on the inside. You're trying to get it from the wrong end.
Yeah,
that's all it is. It's already in you. You just haven't accessed it.
Yeah, you're not living in a reality that you want to live in. You're chasing a reality that you.
Yes, you think that what's outside of you is going to make you feel better on the inside.
That's some deeper shit.
When in actuality, your inside dictates the outside.
It's comparative to how you see people with attitudes and snobby and all of this other shit. You ain't did nothing to them, and that's just how they are to everybody because they're internally damaged.
Yeah, resistance, bro. Resistance. We as people these days have a lot of fucking resistance. If we would quit fighting against the shit that we don't like and just go through it, learn what we gotta learn, we would heal better. But what do you do the first time you bump into something you don't like? You resist it.
Yeah.
You don't embrace it, you resist it.
Yeah.
By resisting it, you don't get to find out anything about it. Because you completely put this wall up, and now it's just festering and doing what the fuck it wants. When you could have just said, well, come on in, buddy. Let's just talk about it.
this comes from, and I swear I figured out the root of why that's the reality. That comes from being young and not having a man or somebody around telling you actual educated realities or educated routes to take that make sense or things to do. Because my mother was well, just try it and do whatever, and it might be successful, even if you know it's not going to be successful. You can tell me, hey, this is not going to. Try this out, or you try these alternatives, or try these. So you only have bad alternatives to try, and you keep used to trying shit. So you butt your head sometimes to where now it's like everything sounds too good to be true.
It's insanity by definition.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, growing up in these realities where there is no actual structure, order, or purpose, or plan in life.
It's all chaos.
Exactly.
Everybody's in survival mode. No one's living, we're surviving. That's what we're doing.
We don't even look at tomorrow and today as a part of life. Everybody worried about when they get it.
Like, my biggest thing is, man, like what I gravitate to the most is staying in the present moment. Right here where we are, right now, what we're doing right now.
You got to.
Because past, present, and future, they're all in the same spot. They're all dictated by one point, which is the present.
If you're not using it for the present, it's pointless.
Yeah. What's the point?
Right.
That's why most people never get to where they're going, because they're looking back there. Or they're looking all the way up there. What you're doing right now is going to send you to either one of those. It's going to be both of those.
And I feel like what dictates a lot of people's right now is their ability to correlate all of that and travel and traverse with time as it happens and goes on, because history just happened 2 seconds ago and we're making the future right now. You get what I'm saying? So it's like
segregation isn't that long ago.
Right, it's all, but it's just
they make it seem that way.
It's just like the infinite atom. Like when we're not looking at certain atoms is everywhere. That's the same concept with the theory of past, present, and all of that, because time doesn't really exist. So this conversation that we having, we're gonna build certain logics and certain topics and certain things that we were not on in the past, but it's a part of the same conversation that's in the present, which is gonna end off in the future.
Pretty much.
Everything has these correlations and ability to present or be present in every time. You know what I'm saying?
Literally anything is possible.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
You just have to have the capacity to bring it from the inner realm to the outer realm, which is manifested. You have to know how to manifest that shit and bring it out. Everything we got out here, we put out here. Everything.
Exactly.
From the cars, besides nature, we did that.
Right. Exactly. And I feel like us trying to recreate nature is going to be the end of
terrible.
Hey, terrible,
bro. Terrible. So like, I sat back and I'm like, even with my kids, I got 6 kids, bro.
Yeah.
And the one thing that stands out to me is I got 6 kids, but each one of them little motherfuckers that I love dearly,
right,
is me at a different point in life.
Yeah, that's how it be, that DNA.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't get where people think that they can just take a group of kids and raise them all the same.
You can't.
You can't.
You have to figure out who that spirit is. Well, that's why even when I think of having a kid, I think of bringing forth the new energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even about, because I can nurture that energy, I can turn that energy either good or bad. I can have an effect on if that energy looks at life in a positive way or in a negative way.
You know what else is wild? We seem to think that we can corner or pick the energy that's inside that child.
No, you can't. That's the part where I was talking about the sending of the bloodline of certain
that kid can be a conglomerate of
anybody,
a million ancestors, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know which part of what that they have.
It's a mix, and this is a part of actually
it reveals itself to you.
I had a teacher, right? And he was literally like my biology, and what is it called? Botany. He was my botany teacher. Yeah. And because he was so into the splicing of DNA with plants and all of this different shit, him and his wife went and basically like knew they were gonna have twins and knew what day and what vitamins and all of the certain shit you have. So if you do enough research, you can control and play chess with every goddamn thing. Is what they
to a certain extent.
To a certain extent, when it comes to like science-based shit. When the spirit comes into play,
Yeah.
that's when it's over.
Yeah.
That's when
See,
it's over.
And that's what's called, these days they call it the anomaly.
Yeah, because it's unexplainable.
Yeah, it's an anomaly. Like, people forget about the anomaly. Like, it's, once you replicate a certain thing or you fuck with it for so long, the anomaly is coming. Because that's what lets you know you're not the one. You don't have 100% control over anything.
Nobody, and this is the harsh reality of accepting that this is how you create peace within your life. Because people who think they got control or trying to fight the control or being on that are always chasing that, or always in the mentality that it's possible to gain or gather.
Mm-hmm.
So in doing that, that's basically the reality of living your life, chasing some shit or thinking that when you get some shit, it's gonna be that feeling that you want. Because once you get the power that you think is worth having, it's like a bodybuilder.
It's like the first time you smoke blunt. You never been high before. The first time you smoked that motherfucker, gorgeous. Then after that, when you smoke the second one, it don't quite feel the same. You still high as fuck.
My weed experience was totally different though, because the first time I smoked, I didn't get high.
Me neither.
Yeah,
I didn't get high until like my third or fourth try.
Yeah, I didn't start getting high until later on down the line.
But when I did,
yeah, it was a different experience. And then really, my first wave, I smoked when I was like probably like 15, 16.
I didn't smoke till I was, I didn't get high until I was 18, 19 years old.
See, my experience was similar. I was bullshitting around, baby smoking at parties here and there, kind of like that 15, 16. So like I was a smoker. But then I started smoking at 18 and 19, and that's when it really was like, I'm high. But I don't know, I feel like it's different. I ain't never smoked no crack, but I feel like
I do.
Yeah, I feel like that's a whole different type of like reality change.
Well, it's not natural, it's man-made.
Right, and it produces a natural chemical effect.
Not even supposed to be in there.
The shit that we be like thinking is like crazy is actually just people who are ahead of our time as far as technology and thinking and doing certain shit and manipulation are actually doing. That's why magic is real. They just stole it and took it from us to where we are not aware of how to do certain shit.
How to do it.
Right. And it's, you ever seen Lovecraft Country?
Was that a show?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. They got the little chick from Eve's Bayou.
Okay.
I know you've seen Eve's Bayou.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, Smollett. Light skinned chick. She was a kid back then too. Megan Good little sister.
I can't think of her name for shit. I don't watch a lot of TV anymore.
Yeah.
Like if I do, it's nature shit. I don't.
It be all programmed. You gotta know what you watch.
Yeah, I choose what I already know is bullshit, and I watch it because I know it's bullshit.
Yeah,
it can't manipulate me. That's why I watch it.
You basically go into it to see the manipulation. Like,
pretty much.
Yeah, what they do?
Bro, they got a fucking show on like it was only on Netflix for a short while. You might be able to find it still on there, but it's called The Social Experiment.
Right.
I recommend that you go and watch that. It exposes everything about.
And you said it's on Netflix?
It's called The Social Dilemma.
The Social Dilemma?
Yes, and it goes into how they trick you in these fucking cell phones and how they manipulate you and how many people are actually working to put you in this position.
Yeah, and I like that when they talk about stuff like this, I enjoy when they talk about stuff like this because that means that it's now affecting white people. But we don't start yet. You feel? I like this. You even add you already understand. So it's just like the opioid crisis or any other crisis that they throw crisis on. Until it start affecting white people, that's when it becomes a news article or like make a movie or this.
Till it touches the leader. They don't fuck with it till it touches the leader.
Think about how many years of racial systematic program and all type of shit that we can't see because we just regular humans looking from the regular eye, not even thinking about the mental. Because I'm telling you, that's a whole realm that I need to have people on that mental realm where you really get into the intellectual statistics and the breakdowns. Just like I was talking about the body teacher who he understood when he was doing the plan shit. I can have twins if I want to. I can go in here and really do the chemicals, see when my wife ovulating, see when this line up with this, shoot 2 seeds in there and then boom, get it on in and out the way. I'm like, that's fantastic because I thought that was just look of the Irish or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of cloning, a lot of shit that we just becoming aware of. That when Cat Williams was making jokes about the clone meat, they was way ahead of that already.
Yeah. Anything you see is old knowledge.
Right. Exactly. It's like light traveling through time and shit.
It's old.
Shit moves slower than light, and it take us a long time to see light.
The powers that be, as they call them, are never going to give you the power that's equal to what they have. They're going to keep you behind.
And this is why we need segregation. What you just said right there is why, if we had our own FBIs, if we had the BFBI and the BCIA and all of this that's separated, we separated America from South and North, like how they was finna do that shit, they were like, oh, hold up, because if it was more like that, we'd have more influence in the South because it was more black people in the South, so it would be, that was a deeper fight than we understand and realize. Like, I have more of adverse feeling towards white people who systematically try to prison me or do shit behind the scenes and in bills and
that's
on
the
Joe Biden type of shit, rather than just being an outright racist. Like, I don't like you and I don't want you in my community.
I would much prefer that you do that.
I don't want to be in your community, and I can have my community where we can have those same rules. Like, well, you don't come to our community, we don't come to your community. We're friends now because we like the same shit. Y'all not being in our community. It's like, this is a healthy mentality to figure out common
like
grounds. Yeah, common grounds. But the white people understand money, understand that, oh shit, well, if we give them our own community, they'll start to spend all of that money they're spending on their own stuff, in their own community, in their own neighborhood. Start to build up their own streets and infrastructure and shit that really matters. And we wouldn't be able to just eat off of it and have $1 million mansions out in the middle of nowhere for no reason. And all of this shit that's going on is correlative to something, and we don't want to stop to see it.
Man, in my opinion, they've been cutting their throat since the beginning. It just takes a while for them to bleed out.
And who is they?
Like the powers that be, or whatever they call them. The motherfuckers that got the knowledge.
They think it's because they think they know what they're doing, but they not understanding that we're God's people, so it don't matter what you do.
You can't hoard it. You can't hoard the knowledge. You can only hold so much.
And that's why it would even, for them, be a better fight, because it's like, if we were neighbors, and we were peaceful neighbors instead of being manipulated friends, it would be a much more respectable relationship, if that makes sense, to where you wouldn't have as many niggas with resentment who want to be on a certain type of time with you, because you wouldn't be hiding and harboring lies from the past. It's equivalent to like somebody who did something in the family in the past and they's like, oh, don't talk about that, but they still want to come around the family and all of the same shit. But the person who's feeling some type of way about what they did is like, you're not gonna talk about this. So it's just like this is the mentality of white people in our area or in America. And they try to call us African. Where the fuck they get that from?
I don't know.
I ain't never heard of European American.
There's no such thing.
But it should be. If it's an African American, why ain't it a European American?
Because they just make that shit up as they go, bro.
I heard somebody say, even if they was gonna do that, it should be American African, because I'm an American before I'm an African. You know what I'm saying? It's like what you are first will come first. That's the beginning of your title. Then you
or you came in at.
Yeah, like Sergeant Chief ain't Sergeant. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, I don't know.
It's confusing, man. Like, I try not to focus on too much shit at one time. Because, like, when I first started this shit, I remember being overwhelmed.
Okay, and then walk us through that journey as far as in 2017. You said it's 2017.
Yeah, right? 2017. Just like when I started finding out, you know what I'm saying, about certain religions, certain holidays, you know, shit like that.
Paganism.
Yeah, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, what the, so
I was
had me doing this for all this fucking years and this is what this means? Wait a minute, I have to stop doing that. But just simply telling yourself to stop doing something is not enough. Your brain actually has to kick out the bad shit and replace it with the shit that you now learned. Yeah. And it kept me in my room for 3 months.
Because you have to meditate and you gotta fast.
It's a reboot. And that's what I was doing. I was on a lot of smoothies and shit. I wasn't eating no fucking meat. Like, I quit eating meat for like damn near a year.
Yeah.
And the difference is real.
I only eat meat here and there. And
you know what I'm saying? So
I don't like to be like, I ain't gonna eat no meat because I feel like a nigga can poison me with some meat.
Right.
But like, but like, this nigga Kobe, man, like,
No way you caught yourself.
nah, I'm just saying,
No, I
if a
got you, I
nigga
got
poisoning
you.
somebody with some meat sounds crazy. But like, this nigga, man.
I gotta do music with you.
It's fucking wild, man.
Yeah, nah, facts. Like, even if we go into that realm of like how they doing the meat and how they doing like,
The vegetables, everything. you touch.
yeah, like I got an herb,
We are guinea pigs.
man. Like,
Until you gain X amount of knowledge that pulls you away from that, you are a guinea pig.
So-
Anything they want to know how it works, they give it to the public.
so when I get into these type of topics and these type of realities, this starts to make me wonder, like,